بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh everyone, and welcome to this majlis. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our sins of our shuyukh, our parents, our beloved ones, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq so we can benefit from the ayat that we will be explaining today, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us al-ikhlas in our action in being in this majlis. Ameen. Okay, so as you all know, we're still learning from Surah An-Naml, the Makki surah, and we're still learning and talking about the story of Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam. So last week we completed the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَتَبَسَّمَ ضَاحِكًا من قولها وقال ربي أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه وأدخلني برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. And we did mention this is the reaction of Sulaiman alayhi salam when he heard the saying of the ant after she warned her people or her colleagues or her family members to get inside their homes, protecting themselves from Sulaiman and his army. This was the reaction of Sulaiman. We talked about that. So today we'll go into the following ayah 20, inshallah, start from there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said after that, وَتَفَقَّدَ الطَّيْرَ فَقَالَ مَا لِيَ لَا أَرَى الْهُدْهُدَ أَمْ كَانَ مِنَ الْغَائِبِينَ. This is a second or another occasion where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows to us the miracle and the mu'jiza or the ayah of Sulaiman alayhi salam. So tafaqqada, the ability that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it to Sulaiman alayhi salam. Allah said tafaqqada, the verb, I have to just introduce a little bit of Arabic in here. Tafaqqada, the verb that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used in here is a verb with extra letters. We have two ways of using the verbs in Arabic. It can use the original verbs, which is mainly with the 3 letters or 4 letters, when you want to mention the action in a normal way. But when you are doubling the letters, you're going to different patterns in Arabic language with an extra letters, you want to exaggerate the meaning. All the time when you're adding letters into the word, the makeup of the word, you are exaggerating the meaning. You want to show that the action was done in a very strong way. So tafaqqada from the verb tafaqqada means he was searching and looking very, very strongly, very in details. Tafaqqada at-tayra. At-tafaqqud in Arabic language, when you are missing something and you're looking for it. And not a normal looking, just you looking here, you looking there. The action was done in a very detailed way, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the verb tafaqqada, which is a fi'l we call fi'l mazid. It's a verb with an extra letters. تفقد الطير Sulaiman alayhi salam, he's the one who was searching and looking to الطير. The word that used here, الطير, and الطير, it means any animal that flying. Or some ulama are saying any animal with 2 wings will be called طير. So 2 definitions for the word الطير. Any animal can fly will be called طير, but in this situation we cannot call the chicken طير because chicken can't fly. But the other definition, they're saying at-tayr, any animal with 2 wings, that will be called tayr. But we know from the story of Sulaiman, although it was not established in the Sunnah, as we did mention before, we know from the stories that Sulaiman has had a tayr, and a tayr will be on top of him. They're covering him from the sun and protecting him from the above, and he's got the jinn and al-ins around him. So based on that, a tayr should be something, an animal that can fly, can go up. So tafaqqad at-tayr. And there is one principle in Tafseer. You should learn it even if you don't know Arabic. This is a really simple principle, easy to learn, and will be easy for you to use later on. Any noun in Arabic language, when it comes with al, look into al with at-tayr. There's al in there. I know for you guys, you learn how to read Quran. When you learn the Quran, they will tell you about the al-qamariyya and al-shamsiyya. The al that you pronounce, which is al-kitab, al-masjid, you're pronouncing the al. And when there's al will be merged with the following letters, they're called shamsiyya. the sun letters and the moon letters. This Shamsiyya that we don't pronounce the Al. I'm not talking about this. I know that you know that, but from the Arabic grammar, or Arab in the Tafseer as well, we have Al is referring to something that you know it and I know it, the reader knows about it. If I said to you, now we're talking about, we are our community here. I said to you, I went to the Masjid. ذهبت إلى المسجد, to the masjid. The al is replacing the word the in English. Which masjid that you think about it? You will think about the masjid, the local masjid, Northwood Hills Masjid. That's what it comes into your mind. This al we call al for al-ahd al-dhihni. When the word, the noun is used with this particular al, everyone who can hear the ayah, the statement, or read it, understands in the mind that which bird, which noun that you're referring to. And sometimes the L, which is, as I said, replacing the word the in English, or equivalent to the word the in English, it can be, includes all the meaning. Now I'll give you an example of that. When you read at the beginning of Surah Al-Fatiha, Alhamdulillah, there are different types of hamd, different types of praising Allah. You use a praise, you use a praise, you use a praise. And as Rasulullah said, on the day of judgment, when he come in front of when the people, they will be gathered and the people will be asking Adam, asking the Anbiya, Ulul Azm, to go to Allah to ask him to come and do the hisab, to come and complete and end the situation, because they are waiting for the hisab, for the judgment. Rasulullah, he's the one who will go to Allah and he will prostrate in front of the arsh of Allah, and he said, I will say Muhammad. Muhammad praises that I didn't know it before. I did not say it before. So the point is, there are hamd, which is praise, that each one of us will use different ways of praising Allah. And when we say Alhamdulillahi, what is a translation of that in English? What do you say in English? You know better than me. All praises. You're saying all praise. You're not referring to one praise. The word all is from the word al. And why? Because al, we consider it in the letter al. And we consider this al for al-jins, for istighraq. Includes all the meaning of that noun that you're mentioning or you're merging the al with. Now here, وَتَفَقَّدَ الطَّيْرَ. When Sulaiman, he checked and he was looking and checking upon a tayr. Is it a specific tayr, a specific bird, or all the birds? Well, you might say that, and it was said amongst the Mufassirin, some of them, they said, Sulaiman checked all the birds, and then when he found Al-Hudhud was missing. And some of the Mufassirin, some of the scholars said, no, Sulaiman straight away, he noticed the absence of Al-Hudhud, and that's when he made checking At-Tayr, and At-Tayr is referring to only one bird, and that is Al-Hudhud. So two meanings in there, both of them that can fit in the ayah. So Sulaiman checked all the birds, and then he found Al-Hudhud was missing. Or you could say Sulaiman, and that's to show that is a miracle from Allah. He gave him that ability. As soon as he looked, he knew that there is something is missing. As those Mufassirin who went into his opinion, they said Sulaiman, while he's standing, he notes that there is the gap that was up there, is a gap that allows the sun to go through. And he notes straight away there is something is missing, and he looked at, he found that is Al-Hudhud was missing. So both meanings can be possibly in there, and both of them are not said by Rasulullah, said by the Mufassirin, and both of them can be supported by the Arabic language, and they're valid meanings. So tafaqqad at-tayra, Sulaiman was checking the at-tayr, the birds. I like the meaning which goes into Sulaiman checked all the birds. Why? Because it will relate to us. And we, as we said many times before, we're learning a story. We need to see from this story what is related to us. It's not just Sulaiman. Long time ago, a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the ability to use a tayr, to use that. So what after that? We need to look into it ourselves now. تفقد الطير فقال ما لي لا أرى الهدهد أم كان من الغائبين. It gives us a message that you are a responsible person, then you need to check upon the people that you're responsible for. Sulaiman was a Nabi. Sulaiman was the king and he was responsible for jinn, ins, the humans and the jinn, shayateen, as well as the birds. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the responsibility, gave him the ability to talk to them and to know their language. And he was checking upon them because they are all under his empire. They are all under his wealth. Do we do that? Do we do that regularly, checking upon what is under our wealth, under our power, the people that we're responsible to look into it? This is a very important message to us. And before, I know that you might say this is really a message to the kings, the rulers, those people, and especially we're coming closer to the vote, to the election. You vote for someone and then he will look after you, will promise you this and that, and then after that will disappear. But let's not talk about this. Let's talk about as just Muslims. Now, Muslims, do we really look after the people that we are responsible for? This is a really important message to us and our families. If you are a father, if you are a married person, you have a wife to look after, you have children to look after. And if you are a mother, you have a mother or a sister, you have a siblings to look after, you have a father to look after, you have a husband to look after, you have a house to look after, you have wealth that when the husband goes out, everything in there to look after, looking after it is very, very important. Everything in there, you're responsible about it. So this is really important. Don't think about, yeah, well, it's fine, it's this. You're going with the word, it's fine. Making everything is easy. I'll tell you a story. There's someone in my local, where I used to live in different, I'm not going to tell you the area so you don't think about the person, but it's a Muslim person. He was advised that, look, your son, he's from a group that they travel everywhere in the world, they're giving da'wah. You know, there's a group, they travel everywhere, they give da'wah. And it was said to him, brother, look, you have a son who is in the community, you have a son that needs care, needs to look after him, he needs to stay. Why you're going for khuruj? Why are you going for this? Stay, remain in the area, in your home, and look after your son. He needs your attention. He's a teenager, beginning of teenager, and he's in that age where if you don't stay in the house, you're the male figure, you're the one who should look after him. And he's, no, it's fine. Da'wah is more important. No. The main da'wah is to look after your son in here, not da'wah to give da'wah. Al-aqrabuna awla bil-ma'roof. This is a principle in Islam. Al-aqrabuna awla bil-ma'roof. In everything, in da'wah, in giving a charity, in giving zakah, in everything. Those who are close to you are more important for you than anyone else. Do that circle and then you expand, go out. You're going khuruj, you're going into somewhere in Africa to give da'wah, salah, about this, about that. Somebody else can do that. You have a family, your home is going down, is going to hell down. So really you need to look after them. And when he was advised, he said, no, it's fine, da'wah is more important, and that's not right. You have to look after your home first. Al-aqrabuna awla bil-ma'roof. And then you look to the people outside. And then he said something which is really silly. Don't expect someone to say it, an adult person. Well, I sent him to Pakistan. 1 month, 2 months, he will be straight after that. He was scaring them by sending them to that. That's not really way of giving a tarbiyah. Tafaqqad al-tayra, this is a message that we need to learn. We are responsible for certain things that we have in our life. The minimum that we are, well, it's not really a minimum. It's a great thing that a great amana is our families. When you got married, for those who are married, when you got married means that I'm going to fulfill this responsibility. Because a marriage is a responsibility. It's not just last week, last Saturday actually, after the, I made the marriage contract for a family. When I was saying to the person, the boy, giving him some responsibility, he said, Wallah, you know what, I'm saved today. I wasn't really thinking about a marriage into being that way. And our children, they go into this life, the holy life, that by getting married, without them knowing the responsibilities that they should know about it, and it will be ahead of them. It's not just getting married, it's you. When you got married, you got the responsibility. Every single person in your family, you're responsible for. كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٍ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. And Yawm al-Qiyamah, you'll be asked about this in the same way as Sulaiman was checking upon his ra'iyah. And that is the message that we should learn in here. Yes.
In the scenario you're mentioning, how would that affect the reward of the person? Because what might in principle be a good deed, for example, going and helping others or giving dawah to other people, let's say generally, not specifically
Yes.
for how many days or
Yes.
generally, but then there's some, let's say, neglect of one's own family or something of that nature, and there may be some detriment there. And how would that then affect?
Well, the beauty about our deen, we have priorities. We have what you call tartib, an order in there. So when you come into salah, you have a fard salah and you have nafil salah. Do I do the nafil salah or should I do the fard salah? I have to do the fard. Now, looking after my family and giving them attention, and look up, especially when you know one of them is going off the track, is going into a wrong path, is doing something wrong, then the responsibility that I have to look after him, this is my main responsibility. Now it's a wajib, it's an obligation. Going to giving da'wah outside is not an obligation at that stage. You finished that, you sorted that, everything is going fine, you're giving time, you're doing the right things in there. You have time, yes, you do the da'wah. Because the da'wah, it's one from the furud al-kifaya, fard kifaya. Fard kifaya, if you do it, kashif, I don't have to do it in the community. You are fulfilling the obligation of community. That's fine, alhamdulillah. So I don't need to do that. But your family, no one is going to fulfill that responsibility or that obligation. You have to do it. So alhamdulillah, with that tartib, that's why in Sharia it's easy to fulfill the commands and the obligations in Islam, because everything has its own place. You do this and then you do that. You do that, you do that. If you couldn't do this one, then you leave it. Otherwise, like Salatul Janazah, we have to attend all Salatul Janazah because it's a fard, but fard kifaya. If you do that, I don't have to do it. Now, looking after my family, it's an obligation. But as I said, there's a certain level in there. It's not just means that you stay with your family all days and you don't go out, you don't attend classes, you don't, there is a beautiful hadith. He said, Rasulullah said when he was with Al-Hassan al-Hussein, he said, Al-awladu, he talks about children. He said, Mabkhalatun, Majbanatun, the children, he's referring to them, his grandchildren, Hassan Hussein, said the children are Mabkhalatun and Majhalatun. So Mabkhala, they will make the parents bakhil. They can be, the children can make the parents reach the level of being bakhil. Al-bakhil is the stingy, because you working and you're earning money. You're thinking of the children. You know what? I need to save the money because they get older. I need to buy that for them, buy this for them. They get a little bit older. I need to send them into important schools. I need to save money because the cost of the fees is very big. And then now you're saving the money. You're not giving fi sabilillah. You're keeping the money. They're getting older. I'm going to make the extension in the house. The children get married. They might live in here. Not, you're going to buy another house. So all the way from day one until the end, you are thinking of them. I remember once I mentioned, I have a case where a brother, an elderly brother, he's thinking about his not children, his grandchildren, and he's making for them. Look into yourself. How much did you make from you looked after yourself or not? And that's what makes you mabkhala. Rasulullah is referring to mabkhala. They will make you to keep the money and thinking of tomorrow, not thinking about now. So thinking about tomorrow, that's not really the case in Islam. When you come into Islam itself, you need to give for the sake of Allah. Give for the sake of Allah, you might die. You might not even live for tomorrow. So mabkhalatun and majhala. Majhala, and this is really mainly related to the females. You're spending all your time with the children, being with them, and they're not allowing you to go out and learn. So when you come into a class, like let's say just like this class, we have a lady say, oh, I have children, I can't come to the class. I have to drop my children. I have to be with the children. I have to be this. I have to be that. So all the time you're looking after the children, and they make you to reach the level of majhala. Majhala being jahil, because you're not attending classes. You're not going with the community. You're not attending the functions and all of this where the Sharia is taught in there. So the point is, going into these responsibilities, You look into the order of all of that. What I really need for my day, what I need for my family, what I need for myself. And from there, you look what is important Islamically and you put it forward. And this is how we will fulfill our duties. But going back into the ayah, تفقد الطير فقال ما لي لا أرى الهدهد أم كان من الغائبين. So this is really the main message that you'll find all the mufassirin, all the scholars of tafsir talked about this, especially they're talking about the late scholars of tafsir when they learn and they try to get lessons from the ayat. So the lesson here for us, we are responsible for our whatever that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us under our hands and we are responsible for. We have to check upon that. Is it right or not right? That goes maybe to the job as well. Duties that were given to you, you have to do it in the right way. So تفقد الطير فقال ما لي. As a reaction straight away, Sulaiman found there is something missing amongst from the طير. فقال, so he said, ما لي لا أرى الهدهد. Linguistically and grammatically is a very beautiful point in here, but I'm not going to confuse you because the majority of you don't know Arabic grammar, so I'm not going to go into that. Because Sulaiman, he should have said ما له, and he said ما لي. He is showing that he is wondering, he is kind of, he didn't know what happened to me. What is happening to me? I can't see al-hudhud. But the meaning is opposite of that. But al-hudhud was not there. You know al-hudhud. What do you say al-hudhud in English? Huh? Huppy. Okay. So al-hudhud is very small. I don't think it lives in the cold countries. It lives in hot countries. And al-hudhud, the interesting about this small and the Sharia or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or as an ayah for Sulaiman, he talks about al-hudhud, and you see later on what al-hudhud did to Sulaiman, although very small, tiny bird, very close into the size and the body of the sparrow. A little bit bigger, especially with with the head maybe, it's a bit bigger, but very small animal. Maybe some of you who did not live in a hot country, maybe you never seen him, or maybe you've seen him in the pictures only. Well, I remember when I was little, I used to catch them, I used to have them, because I lived in the village and we used to have them. May Allah forgive us. Al-hudhud, well, I have to say that because I remember one of them what died between my hand. May Allah forgive us. But this is a very long time. I was young. And in the village, no one's going to teach you at that time. So al-hudhud, the interesting Dumairi in his book Kitab al-Hayawan, Dumairi, one of the Kamaluddin Dumairi, one of the great Shafi'i scholar, he wrote a book that you're not going to find like this book at that time. And Western scholars, they rely on the book of Ad-Dumairi. It's called Kitab al-Hayawan, a very big encyclopedia. It took every single animal and he talked about this animal, he described it. And then he talked about the life of that animal in the same way that you watch now in National Geography or somewhere we talks about the animals, what they say in the Ad-Dumairi long time, he said it and he mentioned there. And then he would talk about whether it's halal or haram. And then he talked about whether when you see that animal in the dream, what does it mean? And he mentioned so many subsections under each animal's name. And the interesting things about al-hudhud, he said, amongst the creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-hudhud is the most honest animal to his partner, his wife. You're not going to find an animal who is very honest and very, how to say this, attached to the wife like the al-hudhud. He said when the female is absent, he will make sound as a crying sound until the female comes back. If the female is dead, he will spend all his life crying and he will not eat, with an exception to a small tiny food that makes him survive. And then he will end by dying. You'll never find a male hudhud will live longer after his female dies. And thinking about her, missing her, and because of that, he said he's very attached to his wife, and he will not marry, he will not have any relation with any other hudhud, only one. That's unlike the similar to that, the sparrows, their relation is very open, as you know. But with the hudhud, he will have only one partner, very, very attached to that. So subhanallah, that's one of the things that to learn about. This was described long time from the Imam al-Dumayri. And also he mentioned, he said, it was said, as this is mentioned by the Mufassirin as well, al-hudhud, and that's why Sulaiman was checking upon him and he wanted to find where is al-hudhud. It was said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the ability to know if there is water under the ground, he will tell you where is it. So if Sulaiman wanted to have water, and he will tell him there is water in that place, they have that senses and can figure and find out if there is water under this place or not. It was said, Sulaiman, this incident, تفقد الطير فقال ما لي لا أرى الهدهد. I'm not going to go into some fabricated and some stories mentioned by Bani Israel, but they mentioned that it was in his journey, and this is close between Al-Hijaz, which is Mecca, and Yemen, before he reached to the kingdom of Saba. He wanted to have water, because if it was in his kingdom, which is Ash-Sham, he knows where the water is. But he wanted to have water, and he checked upon Al-Hudhud to tell him about the water, and he couldn't find him, and that's why Sulaiman got angry after that. So he said, مَا لِيَ لَا أَرَى الْهُدْهُدْ أَمْ كَانَ مِنَ الْغَائِبِينَ. So means that, why don't I don't see the hudhud? Is it me that I can't see him? Or am kana min al-ghaibin, he is absent, he went away and he is not with us. As if Sulaiman alayhi salam, in the army, people have the time for checking, as like, in the morning in the schools, we having taken the registers. In the army, where the people, they stand, the leader will check, is everyone there, is everyone is ready, and then they go. So Sulaiman alayhi salam was checking upon his army, his people. Al-Hudhud was not there, so he was min al-ghaibin. Then Sulaiman, as a reaction of the absence of Al-Hudhud, he said, لَأُعَذِّبَنَّهُ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا أَوْ لَأَذْبَحَنَّهُ أَوْ لَيَأْتِيَنِّي بِسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. Now, the first question comes to the mind, the meaning in here, I will surely punish him. لَأُعَذِّبَنَّهُ. You will not feel how strong this word, unless you know Arabic. He used the lam. Can you see the la at the beginning? La, لَأُعَذِّبَنَّهُ. This lam, a letter lam, is to emphasize the meaning that surely, indeed. And then he added the verb with the noon, with the shadda at the end. Can you see that the noon with shadda in there? That shadda, also to emphasize the meaning of the verb. 2 letters in there to show that I surely will give him a severe punishment. And then he added عذابا شديدا. He described it, a very severe punishment. Sulaiman, maybe he could have said لَأُعَذِّبَنَّهُ أَوْ لَأَذْبَحَنَّهُ. But he added عذابا شديدا to emphasize the meaning of the lam and the meaning of the noon. Really, so many letters and words in there to show that the punishment of Sulaiman towards one of his members of his empire will be very, very severe. أَوْ لَأَذْبَحَنَّهُ, or I will slaughter him. أَوْ لَيَأْتِيَنِّي بِسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. If I did not do the other 2, if there is an excuse, the excuse that he will come with, Sultan Mubin will come into that. Now, the question will come up, usually you look into the punishment will be matching the mistake that you make. Is that mistake and is that little body deserve all of that? Sulaiman went into too harsh, you might say, isn't it? But he's a Nabi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You never know that is from Allah or not. But logically, we think about if we take it from a logic perspective, we say that's very harsh. How Sulaiman alayhi salam will go into this. And this is why the ulama, they're saying, al-adhab, the punishment, is not based on the body. It's based on the sin that you commit. Otherwise, even the punishment, Yawm al-Qiyamah, will you be able to survive when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described the people of hellfire? كُلَّمَا نَضْجَتْ جُلُودُهُمْ بَدَّلْنَاهُمْ جُلُودًا غَيْرَهَا لِيَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابِ. Whenever their skins will be burned, we'll give them a new skin, and will be burned again and again and again and again. We humans, we put our fingers on normal fire, we can't. We will find it very, very punishment, very, very strong. How would we be able to survive the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah protect us from that. So very strong. It's not to do with the body, it's to do with the amount, the sin that people committed, and the one that you disobeyed him. Two things that you need to consider it. Look into the amount of the sin that you committed and the one that you disobeyed. Don't look into your body, whether you can take it or not. So that principle was said by the ulama of tafsir, and they applied it in here. Al-Hudhud, he disobeyed Sulaiman, he disobeyed the Nabi, and he made a punishment that where he should be there, because he should be there and he was not there. We don't know how much that important for Sulaiman to be, for everyone to be there at that travel or at that particular moment. But he disobeyed the Nabi, and therefore his punishment matches him, matches the sin that he committed, nothing to do with his body. So don't look into the body of this animal. لَوَعَذِّبَنَّهُ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from al-adhab, but the adhab means I will give him a painful punishment. Al-adhab is a painful punishment, has to be painful. If there is no pain in there, it will not be adhab. Al-adhab is attached with the meaning of the pain. If you give adhab without pain, that will not be adhab. It was said, the ulama of tafsir, they went into so many opinions about this. None of these opinions is said by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's all from the mufassirin, from the tabi'in, and those who came after them. So they said, Sulaiman will take his feathers from all his body. And that is to make, that's like someone, for the human, take his clothes off for the birds. And another view, they said, no, he will take the feathers of his two wings only. And a third opinion, they said, he will make him to live and to stay with his enemies, that he doesn't like them, as nature of the al-hudhud. And it was said that he will make him and he will dismiss him from serving him, Sulaiman alayhi salam. And that's a big punishment. So that's لَوَعَذِّبَنَّهُ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا. The meaning in Arabic language is a very severe punishment. But what is that severe punishment to an animal like that, the size of your maybe hand? It will be something matches him, his body. And the ulama mentioned all these views. I mentioned them to you, or some of them to you, just to have an idea, because you might think adhab and shadidan, well, cut him into pieces, that would be adhab and shadid. But adhab, that's a killing. And he said adhab. Adhab, that you feel the pain, but you still survive, you're still alive. Can you see that difference? And that's why he said after that, أَوْ لَأَذْبَحَنَّ. Then the second option, that I'll slaughter him. لَأَذْبَحَنَّ. I will slaughter this al-hudhud, because he is disobeyed my command, and he does not deserve to stay alive. But that's the rule of Sulaiman alayhi salam. He's a Nabi. And of course, he did not slaughter him. لَأَذْبَحَنَّ. That I think maybe you need to talk about al-hudhud, whether it's allowed to eat him or not. We did mention before, that's very clear hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. نهى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن قتل الهدهد. Rasulullah, he disliked, or he made a nahi of killing the al-hudhud. In the Shafi'i madhab, or there's a view amongst the fuqaha, it is allowed for the Muslim to eat al-hudhud. In reality, there's nothing really inside. It's all feather. Inside, you know, the sparrow, the sparrow is even more, there's more meat inside him than the al-hudhud. Al-hudhud has more feathers. You see the body, he will blow himself like you feel like he's big, but he's really, really very, very tiny. There's nothing in there. Maybe one bite and that's all what you have in there. So, but, well, for someone who's in a desert and needed something in the Shafi'i school, it can be something allowed, yes. أو لا أذبحنه أو لا يأتيني بسلطان مبين. The third option, there is أو means the first situation, hukum, the second hukum, the third one, لا يأتيني بسلطان مبين. He gave him a way to get out from the difficulty, that I will forgive you if you bring to me an excuse, a valid excuse. Sultan, an excuse, mubin, clear, that makes me allow you and forgive you. أو لا تيني بسلطان مبين. And that's a lesson for us now, is when you are giving commands in the house, the workplace, the people that you work with them, the people that you're responsible for, you set up rules in there. And that's what we call them, policies and rules. You have to do that. If you don't set rules, then life will be, even in the house. In the house, the rules that set from the beginning, when you teach your child, if you let your child from the beginning to eat with the left hand, and you don't say anything, then you teaching him is fine, is allowed. When your child say a word or act in a way that's not right, sitting, even sitting, for a girl how she should sit, for a boy how he should sit, with the family, with guests. I'm going into simple information, which is I've seen it with people and people that don't say anything. A girl in a gathering of people with left her legs up, although she's a child, yes, a child, a baby or child, but you have to teach from that age. Show them this is what they should do. And this is what you are setting rules in the house. Eating from right hand, doing this, doing that, saying salam alaikum, we eat together, enter with your, when you enter the toilet, when you come out, when you enter, everything has to be said and taught with the children. And children, easy for them to forget and easy for them to remember, to memorize. But it's duty for you to keep up reminding them. I say it is a tape of life. The tape of life, that there is a certain thing since you go all out in the morning until you come back. If you are the one who dropping the children or maybe the wife, the adhkar. Don't rely. My advice to you, I know some of you are older than me, but having children and running a house, children all the time, they rely on the parents. Children, if you let them by themselves, did you do your adhkar? Yeah, I did it. Maybe say one dua and finished. But for you, didn't. You say the dua with them from the beginning until the end. And you be like the camera on top of them. Make sure they do everything. And not in a way that you make them to lose the confidence. Of course, you are a father, you know how to do that. But all of this is out of love. All of this is to get them the right thing. And this is what it means, setting rules. You don't need to say, we will do this, we will do that, we're not allowed to do this. It's from the tarbiyah, from the day when we go up with the tarbiyah, they will learn that. And that's how they brought up in a good house, amongst good family. When you do that, when you come into breaking some rules, then that's when you come into here, whether you're going to allow them to give their excuse or you will get so angry and you start smashing this, hitting this, especially if you have a teenager, boy or a girl, when they're coming late to the house or saying something or discovering something not really right, what you're going to do? You maybe start breaking things and swearing and doing things. Is that really a right action to do it? What are you going to benefit from that? So you need to prepare yourself for that. And Sulaiman alayhi salam says, لَيَأْتِيَنِّي بِسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. All the time, make for yourself a way to return. You know, dual carriageway? Don't use the system of one-way system. All the time in your relationship with your family members, people outside, all the time, make for yourself a way of returning. Because you might find out at the end of the way that I am wrong. Another time will be too late for you to return. It will be difficult for you to say sorry. And even sorry at the time, it might not be even beneficial. So make for yourself a way to return. And all the time, that's when you create the matter of having excuses. You have all the time to prepare that someone might give an excuse and that will be a valid excuse. And then, alhamdulillah, there is a valid excuse. Then you carry on with that. So yes, sometimes if you are responsible in really serious and important matters, you don't accept these excuses. You have to change the rule. You have to do something different. But Sulaiman alayhi salam, he taught us in here, and that's one of the lessons we learn, لَيَأْتِيَنِّي بِسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ فَمَكَثَ غَيْرَ بَعِيدٍ فَقَالَ أَحَطُّ بِمَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ وَجِئْتُكَ مِنْ سَبَإٍ بِنَبَإٍ يَقِينٍ. Hudhud, when he returned to Sulaiman, he said to him, what is the excuse? He said it straight away. And he said, أَحَطُّ بِمَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ. I have knowledge that you don't even, you Sulaiman, the Nabi of Allah, the king, you don't have it. You don't know it. With that, Sulaiman did not, even with the following ayat, he did not say anything about that comment from the Hudhud. Because all the time, ilm is the highest thing that can a person will have in this dunya. Ilm is the top and the most beautiful thing that you will have. And he said that I have ilm that you don't have it. I return back with ilm that you don't have, O Sulaiman. And that's why he made Sulaiman to keep quiet. It's ilm. He's better than me in this. And all the time, don't assume, and as we'll talk about that, I know we don't have enough time to finish the full ayah, but just talk about this because we're talking about ilm to motivate ourselves as well. Ilm, it is the most important thing that to have in life. But whenever that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with ilm, and this is what really the ayah is about, don't think that you are the most knowledgeable person. All the time there will be people in there who are better than you. And sometimes you might forget something. And when you are in a situation to forget something, don't claim all the time you are the knowledgeable. At the time you might forget something, as like Sulaiman alayhi salam, he didn't have that ilm of a big empire and a kingdom of Saba. He has no idea about it. No jinn, no shayateen, no ins told him about it. With except that small bird told him about the existence of Saba and Bilqis, as we'll talk about that inshallah later. So the ilm is very, very important. I will end with possibly this story, and we have so many evidence and ahadith and from the Sahaba's time to show that the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum, they don't have the full ilm. Although they're ulama, but they will keep quiet when there is someone who is more knowledgeable than them, and they accept the ilm from everyone. There is a great alim who was Shafi'i madhab. His name is Abu al-Hasan al-Mawardi. His kunya is Abu al-Hasan. He's known as al-Mawardi because his father used to sell ma, which is water, with ward. Al-ward is a rose. They mix the rose with the water and they sell that. So ma wardi, ma with ward. And he became known as the Mawardi. So his son inherited the title of his father, Mawardi. This person, he wrote a book known as Al-Hawi. The word Hawi, the title, it means it gathers everything. There is nothing that you think about it in Islamic law that is not there. 22 fat, big volumes. Is one of the biggest books in fiqh, in the Shafi'i madhab. There is no book in fiqh in the Shafi'i madhab during his time is like that book. He said about himself in his book Adab ad-Din wa Dunya, he said, I wrote this book and at the back of my mind, there is no one wrote like that book. And I gathered all the masail, every issue that you think about it is included in there. He's talking about himself. He said, one day, after completing my majlis of ilm teaching, 2 men came and they were travelers. And they said, he was in Baghdad. He lived in Basra and Baghdad. He said, we asked so many scholars, we have an issue of inheritance, and we asked many scholars about this, and we did not have the right answer. So can you tell us about the answer of this issue? They gave him the scenario. Imam al-Mawardi got blocked. He could not. His mind could not think of anything. He could not give an answer to the scenario that was given to him. He said to them, come to me later on. They came later on, and he explained that in his book, that he's talking about himself. And he said, they came later on, I could not think of any answer of their question. And he just admitted to them that he said, I don't have an answer to your question. Later on the same day, they went to the masjid, they asked who is lower level sheikh or alim or scholar than al-Mawardi himself. And he gave them the answer, and then Imam Abu al-Hasan al-Mawardi, he learned about this answer. He, at the time when he wrote this, and he said, وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Above everyone who claimed that he is alim, there is someone who is more knowledgeable than him. So ilm is something good that to have it, but all the time think about there is someone there who is more knowledgeable than you, and that will make you to have that humbleness and being a symbol, and don't to be proud and showing off and all of that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this time that we spend in this majlis learning about these ayat, although it's not many, but just 2 ayat with short time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this time, the reward of this time, heavy in our mizan yawm al-qiyamah. May Allah accept that from us. Jazakum Allah khair, everyone. I'll end the lesson here. And now, if you have any question, please go ahead with that.